Hello, my name is Jamie Burchell, and you are listening to and or watching our podcast called Wormhole Pinball Presents.
Pinball Presents.
Wormhole Pinball Presents. Today, I'm very, very excited to be joined by two great individuals. Today, I'm really excited to be joined by a very special guest.
And today, I'm very excited to be joined by two awesome guests all the way from Arizona.
Hello and welcome to the Wormhole and our podcast we call Wormhole Pinball Presents, an interview series we started to highlight those in pinball and arcades. And for podcast number 43, I'm bringing out another OG in pinball. And when I bring out a big gun, I have to bring out my buddy.
That's me.
Donovan Wade, Twitch co-host. Donovan, today we are joined by YouTube star of Papa Fame Tutorial and currently 13th ranked player in the world, Mr. Bowen Kerins. Welcome back to the Wormhole, Bowen.
Hey, it's nice to talk to you again. I gotta come back down.
I know that was a fun day. The first time I met him, I'd met him before, but first time I really met him was at here at the Wormhole. We did the Labyrinth tutorial video, and I've never been more nervous in my life for my technology not to F up.
It turned out great.
Yeah, it really did. It was a great video. Turned out good.
And
we gotta do another one. We gotta do a pop tutorial video at some point. But,
yeah,
absolutely.
That would be awesome.
Well, I've told this story before, but I knew nothing about Labyrinth when it came out. Like there was just a few, select people who knew. And
yeah, you weren't NDA worthy.
I wasn't NDA worthy, but I knew something was going on. And the day that everything dropped, that morning, that Friday, I was just kind of scrolling through our Facebook, and I saw Steve Bowden shared like a recent stream we'd done. I think it was Dungeon Door Defender. And Bowen commented. He was like, "Hey, this place looks great." So I took a screenshot immediately. I sent to Jamie. I was like, "What do we have to do to get Bowen down here?" And he sent 5 minutes later, he sends me a picture of all you guys. I'm like, what is going on?
My wife says hello. We had lunch with Bowen, and Bowen talked math with us, and it was a fascinating conversation, actually. And Janine wanted to say hello to you.
I mean, we can just talk math for however long this is, and people will be pissed off. But
no, it was good. We were talking. What's it called?
Common Core.
Common Core. That's what we're talking.
Oh,
and it was actually a really good conversation.
Not the Common Core.
No, we're not going to go into that. All right. We're going to jump around a little bit. I like to start with origin stories, Bowen, right? It's just kind of, as a recruiter, that's how I am. So you grew up in Massachusetts, and I'm sorry I'm wearing this hat.
I don't care. Go ahead.
Oh,
I don't play for the Red Sox.
You don't root for the Red Sox?
I don't play for the Red Sox.
Oh, all right.
It's like, God, I hate these fans. It's like, well, guess what? People are fans of teams.
Yeah,
are you on that team? I mean, if the people who are on the Red Sox like the people who are on the Yankees, so shut it.
That's true.
The fans, not so much.
You're ruining this for me though, because I wore this for another Bostonian, Colin Alsheimer, when he was on the podcast. So it's not on purpose. I just always wear a Yankee.
He always wears a Yankee hat.
Yeah, the Yankees are terrible. It's clear. It's October. Where are the Yankees? The Red Sox are still playing. The Yankees are not playing anymore. It's like obvious the Red Sox.
We have a bye.
Better.
Maybe they'll meet up in the Bermuda. All right. So you grew up in Massachusetts, but went to college. You did not grow up in Massachusetts?
May as well be the same thing. I grew up in Rhode Island.
Right.
It's only an hour or two tiny south of there. You know how, like, in Texas, you could drive from Houston to Dallas?
Yeah.
That's more than twice as far as it is from Massachusetts to Rhode Island.
Yeah.
And there's no Buc-ee's in between.
No. So did you start playing up in New England, or did you start playing when you went to college in California?
It was actually neither of those. My family moved to Miami for 3 years when I was 5, and I remember playing at some 4-player Gottlieb EM that I don't remember what it was at a rec center down there. The game I first remember playing was in a dank basement of a Miami hotel, and it was Sharpshooter. And I only know it was Sharpshooter because I remember being the game with the crazy light in the corner that if you hit it, it would go off and make a siren and you get all shitload of points. And one time I remember hitting it like up and it went through the light and then back through the light again, and it was like the greatest thing that ever happened to me. I had no idea what game that was. It wasn't until 20 years later at Pinball Expo in Chicago that I saw that game. And then I look up at the back glass, and it's Roger Sharp, a person who I have met before. And I'm like, what is happening? This is not right. Um, and I suddenly realized that when I started playing pinball, Roger Sharp is staring at me when I'm 6 years old, and here I am, at least 10 years later, still playing pinball.
So we all kind of start out as beginners, and then as we get more practice, we kind of like, okay, I'm pretty good at this. Let me do some tournaments. I might win a tournament here or there.
Some of us.
Some of us. When did you kind of realize though that I'm not just good at this, I might be world class good at this?
So you're gonna like this. When I went to college, there really weren't any tournaments. I mean, there were a few tournaments, but it's nowhere near what it is now with people having weeklies and local events. And I mean, there are hundreds of events now. Back when I first went to college, there were basically three events. At the Pinball Expo in Chicago, Papa in New York City, and the IFPA tournament, which was also in Chicago. And so I first went, the first tournament I remember going to was in Chicago at the Pinball Expo. And you won't even consider this to be a tournament now, but they just had 20 mystery castles from the Alvin G company lined
Yeah,
up.
we had a mystery castle. We have a
And
mystery
all
castle.
the entire tournament, I'm not kidding, is $5 a game to play a mystery castle. Record your score, top 8 scores, playoff, and the winner gets a mystery castle. There's no other prize. There's no other qualifying. And that's
Did you
all
leave
it
or did you
is.
just?
I played.
I'm
That was
just
the first
kidding.
time I'd ever been to an event like that. So I enjoyed the event. I tried the tournament. I didn't qualify. Um, then a few months later, Papa in New York City is coming up. I'm going to college in California. They have a qualifying tournament in San Francisco where the winner gets free trip all the way to New York uh, to be put up and flown over and then play in the tournament. I actually did amazingly well considering what I was expecting to do, and I got third. It was very close. I won $75.
Hey now.
Most I'd ever won as a college as a college student. $75, no joke. Um, and I decided I was going to go to the tournament anyway, so that I could learn and meet. Like I had never met some of the greatest players in the world, like Lyman, and the guy who had just beat me had offered to be my doubles partner. There was a doubles tournament as well as a singles tournament. So I was like, okay, I'll fly to New York. Maybe I'll make a little money in the doubles tournament, but I'll at least see my family because they're on the East Coast, and we'll see how it goes. Um, and I qualified. I played a lights out game of Street Fighter 2
There you go.
and a couple other good games. But in that tournament, you played 8 games, and they totaled up your scores across all 8 games to see whether you would qualify or not. Um, which is also very strange now. They just never do that now.
That's grueling.
Um, yeah, well, there are tournaments where you have to play 8 games, but
Yeah.
don't just add up your scores. It makes some games worth a
Oh,
ton.
wow. Yeah, that
Other
is
games
strange.
worth like near nothing.
Yeah.
Um, so I make it to the first round of the quarterfinals, and I don't do very well. Well, it's 3 games. I take first on Star Trek Next Generation, but I get third and fourth on the other 2 games, which were Judge Dredd and Tommy. And so I'm out in the first round of the finals. I go up to the hotel room. I change into nice clothes because there's a party going on at the same time. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna come back down, clean clothes on, watch the finals, see if Lyman wins this thing and defends, or whoever, whatever. I come down and they're like, "Where are you? The semifinals is starting. You made it." Like, that's not true. How is this possible? It turned out I was in a 5-way tie for the last qualifying spot, and they totaled up the scores like they did in the qualifying. And because I had won on next gen, I qualified. I played terrible in the other 2 games, but because I played great on next gen, I was in. And so here I am, a college kid, 18 years old, in the semifinals of the World Championship.
Now
I
dressed to
didn't
the
expect to
nines.
qualify, and basically at that point, I'm like, ah, ha, ha, ha.
It's all found money
And
now.
it's all, you know how it is when your pressure is off.
Yeah.
Um, my pressure was gone because I was already out. And so I make it to the wizard mode on Tommy in the semifinals. I crush next gen again. I go straight to the final four as number one seed. In the final, I get 750 million on Tommy again. I win again on next gen. And I win the world championship as a freaking 18-year-old in my third ever tournament.
Wow.
So that was the first tournament I ever won.
Holy.
You know,
So that's what told me that I was going to be okay at this.
Yeah, I think you're going to be all right.
that can be rough.
And
I won,
the end,
I won my very first tournament too, and then sometimes you can only go down from
Yeah, but you didn't win. You didn't win a
I didn't
major.
win a major, no. Would
you
win a
only
three
go
this
you
year?
only go down if the first tournament you ever win involves being interviewed on Japanese radio and being offered a spot on the Tonight Show, there really is only a one way from there, and it's down.
Did you go to the Tonight Show?
I'm like an idiot. I did not.
You did
I did
not.
not go to the Tonight Show.
You
Oh
guys
my-
I was
had to
like,
get
if
back
I
to
go to the
class,
Tonight
right?
Show, I'm going to fail this class in college. And clearly, in retrospect, the right choice is to just fail the class, go on the Tonight Show, and deal with it. But I was like, oh no,
What
I
was it, Jay Leno or was it Conan?
It was like the first year with Jay Leno.
Oh, okay.
This was 1994. So
Wow.
right when Jay Leno took, right when Jay Leno took over, and this was before the Conan thing happened, way before
Okay.
that.
94.
This
So
is
they
the
were
late
like-
night wars.
but
Yeah.
previous to
Letterman,
that, like
Yeah.
Lyman Cheese was on the Today Show. Rick Steady, One Papa Two was on Dave Letterman.
Wow.
So it was like not unusual. It was just very strange to me, but I had a great old time. I should have gone.
No worries. You went to Stanford. You're smart. I mean,
Failed it.
if you had gone to Florida
Failed it.
Southern College in Lakeland, Florida, you would have
would've
skipped
skipped
it,
it.
and you would have went. But you went to Stanford. I'm a moccasin, and you're,
Easy flight though. It should have just gone down, gone back one day. What?
That's
No,
true.
Yeah.
it's dumb. But
Do you remember your first like pop-up tutorial video you did on YouTube? Do you remember how that came
I
about
think
as well?
I think we looked back at one point. It was a Family Guy. Was the first video
I've seen that one.
that was released. It may not have been the first one we filmed, but it was kind of a lark. I was working in Pittsburgh. Like you said, I live in Massachusetts, in Salem, where we kill people for tourism.
Yeah.
And so I was working in Pittsburgh every couple months with the school system there. They were using some of the books I write, and the day would end. We're like, what are we gonna do now? All right, let's all hang out and play pinball at the Papa facility. And they had just bought this new camera system. The camera rigs had just kind of come into favor. Keith and Randy Elwin had created a camera rig called Tournicam for Cal Extreme and some other events in the West Coast, and basically it helped the Papa crew build the same kind of rig for showing the finals. And so they did that for the first time at Papa 13. It was a riot. I was in that final. It was crazy because you never do things on a pinball machine, a Papa 11, sorry. You never do things on a pinball machine and get reactions. And there's a video on YouTube if you want to look at this. I made an outlane save on Adam's Family in that final that was very lucky, but it looked cool. It looks real cool. And then you get this crowd of 150 people behind you just cheering and shouting while you're still on the machine. It's very strange. And that was new. Like now that's not that unusual to have people reacting to something that happens because of the streaming. So they got these cameras, and we're like, well, what else could we do with these cameras? Like, why don't we just play a game, hook me up with a mic, and I'll just talk my way through the game, and whatever, a few people will watch it. And if it works, we'll just keep making them. We only had the one top-down camera, so all you can see is the play field. We used to publish them in two ways, vertical and horizontal, so people watching on the phone could just watch it directly. And it was like that for several years until we got the multicam that now allows us to show the scoreboard or zoom in, or so for some years also we played with like a little camera right in front of the lockdown bar. And so I have to like finagle my way around that while playing and try to make sure that nobody notices anything like that. But that first video was a Family Guy, and I think I got the TV Wizard and did well. And then we just went from there. I don't know how many videos there are. 100,
Yeah.
probably.
I
People say
was
you made
trying
a
to count.
video. There was a game. There was a game. Someone earlier this year started talking to me about the strategy on a game that I didn't remember, and then they complained to me. They're like, "Well, you taught me this strategy."
Hey, code
I
changes
don't
here.
know this stuff. Like, it's right there. Like, okay, yeah, and that was 10 years ago.
I mean, they've been so important
Yeah, absolutely.
for the growth of pinball. I mean, how many people watch these machines before they play them? You know, they go to a tournament and they haven't played a Family Guy. How many people go and look at that? It's just unbelievable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, that was my routine. When I first started playing, I had to learn how to play. But then when I started getting good, it was like, all right, I need to figure out how to play Jackpot or World Poker Tour or something. And I just go to Bowen's video. It's like
Yeah.
15, 20 minutes. It's giving you the good stuff. One of the ones I really like was, and I always remember this one, Iron Maiden. I remember you were telling us, don't hit the loops. The loops are dangerous. And 2 seconds later, you hit a loop and it goes
You get a
right.
loop and you drain, right? That actually.
So I always remember that.
So, I used to be a high school math teacher. You have to that happened on purpose. My plan in that game was to lose a ball by shooting a loop after
Oh,
talking about it, because
look at that.
you
Call
do
that shot.
that and then it becomes more memorable. And people, I mean, the dumbest thing you can say about something, and the more someone can remember it by the action, that's how you want it to be. That's how you also, and I think this is something, I don't know why I'm good at this because I shouldn't be. The video has to be entertaining from go. If it's not entertaining in the first 2 minutes on YouTube, you're out of there.
Yeah.
So, and some people are coming to this for the very first time, and they don't like pinball. They don't know pinball. They're like, "What is this thing?" And they watch the first 2 minutes of the video, and hopefully something funny happens, or they're not coming back. And so, compared to some of the other videos that are very thorough, they can be much longer than my video. They're like, "Here is everything you need to know about Avatar." Like, I don't want that. I don't want that video. I want a video that if I watch just the first 5 minutes, I get a very good idea of what to do. And if I
Yeah.
watch the first 10 minutes, I get a little better idea of what to do. And so one thing that I do before playing a game is I think through, this is the order in which I want things to go. I'm going to do this first, and I'll do this second, and I'm going to do this third. And those are probably not the most efficient ways to play the game if I were to play the same game in competition, especially games that are boring and one-dimensional. Nobody wants to see me shoot the same shot over and over again. It's just not fun. And other people can do it better than I can at this point. So, well, if that's what you're into, you can just watch those kids win every tournament do this over and over again. They can do it.
We'll get to that.
But if you want like a more fun game of theater of magic,
Yeah.
then you want a Mr. Bill doll on the lockdown bar, so that if something goes wrong, I can just slam it and have it say, "Oh no!" And I can vary up the strategy and play for modes and play for the third multi-ball, or do the things that are interesting but wouldn't be part of a normal tournament strategy.
Well, you did great jobs with them, and we love that you're bringing them back. That's awesome.
Well, I've been back. I've been
Yeah.
continuing to make the videos. Tai Ueda is the partner right now. He takes care of all the camera stuff and all the editing. We just finished and are ready to release a Godzilla video.
Awesome.
It is 80 minutes long, and it is
Yeah.
one game. It is one game continuous, and involves probably the best flasher joke I'll ever make.
All right. Well, I can't wait to see it.
You have to watch 75 minutes before it comes.
I reached out to our Discord channel and asked for some help and some questions for you. And my good friend Austin wants to know when you were on stage at TPF and defeated all 9 reactors on TNA live and in person, how did that feel? Because the crowd went absolutely nuts.
That's one of the greatest live experiences I can remember. And just to be in front of a crowd of that size and that much alcohol is a treat. And we did make some changes to the game. Like we set the game for 5 balls. And
Okay.
people didn't know that. So when I started playing, I was like, all right, maybe we'll get as far as we can in 5 balls. And it started going real well. And when we got to Reactor 8 and beginning of Reactor 9, it's like, okay, let's mess around with this a little bit.
It's
Keep
unbelievable.
the crowd on the toes, and you're like, well, here we are in Reactor 9. All we got to do is do this, but I'm not going to do that. We're going to go for multi-ball. We're going to do all this other stuff and just mess with people, and then drain, and then people think, oh, you didn't get it, and then boom, there's another ball. Um, but it's it's showmanship in a way. And then immediately after that, the stayed on the spooky crew stepped up, and then they announced that was being brought on to consult for them as a rules designer on Alice Cooper. I work with them on Alice Cooper, and then Rick and Morty, and then they just kind of said, well, we're only going with locals, so unless you're going to move to Wisconsin, then we're all set. Um, and yeah, no, that's how it rolls. It was a treat to work for them, just to be able to work in pinball at all. Um, and then I've had the honor of being able to work on Final Resistance for Multimorphic, and now Labyrinth. And Labyrinth's so good. Yeah.
It is so good. I just played it. I went before we were on. I got 40 million. Not terrible, but this one's set really hard because this is number 24. And because there's so many barrels employees that come and play here, Bowen, they make sure this thing sings. And I'd like to see a better played Labyrinth than this one right here because the minute a code comes, they update it. They do everything. It's just gorgeous.
Yeah. Speaking of Labyrinth, you wanna?
Yeah, like how you've done 3 titles with David Van Ness, right?
Yeah, David. A lot of people don't remember that Van Ness was working at Spooky as well, and he did a lot of work on Rob Zombie,
Mhm.
and then he did all of the animations on Alice Cooper. He did the animations on TNA, and you don't think there are animations on TNA because it feels like an '80s game, but there are all these backgrounds and 3D passes and uh, all sorts of stuff that's in there to make it feel like a VHS version of pinball, and that takes work. Like the right work of that nature of animation, choreography, sound, the right work in that doesn't get noticed. Like you just know, you just feel right. When something's wrong, you're like, oh, what's that? Ugh, ah. Why are they using the same font they used in Ninja Turtles? But like the things go wrong and you notice them. But if things are going right in a game, you don't really notice them. It
Yeah.
just feels the way it ought to feel to you. And Van Ness is magic at that. Like his work on Morty and Alice as well. We've seen the Alice animations of like the Frankenstein, they're the marionette style. They use the artwork that had been provided by the artist, uh, and then just kind of creates pivot points and animates them literally on the field. And uh, that was great. I haven't really seen other games do that. Uh, so working with him on Labyrinth, he has a terrific eye for those details and to notice when a choreography isn't quite right or when something is out of sync or uh, the ways something could be improved. He's amazing at that. I think I'm very good at that as well. Like I have an eye for those kind of details. Um, but he's just about the best at it. And also at Barrels is Brian Savage, and his work on sculpts and has worked with Hasbro in the past. Like like he has the eye for detail as well, but they're all different details. They're a whole different set of details than what David is really good at poking at. So those two together as the creators of the company, they really are symbiotic, and he's done a great job of bringing in people like Phil Grimaldi, um, and he did a bad job bringing me in. He don't need me. I could just run with
Oh,
Phil. But what's been great is being able to come down, see the game, play the game, work with Eric, the program Eric Pripke, uh, and improve things over time. Like when we're right next to each other, I could say like, "Oh yeah, this thing is off by this many seconds," or this light show needs to go right at this moment instead of that moment. And then Eric will just type away, and 5 minutes later, the game does it, and it's like, good Lord. So he's amazing. Everyone on the whole team is
yeah,
amazing. The people
we're
who
so
deserve the biggest
yeah,
credit for Labyrinth are the people building the machines, because this game could be great in every other way, but if the build quality doesn't hold up, there is no way that Labyrinth sells what it does or succeeds the way it has. It has to have this perfect build quality, uh, and the support that if something does go wrong on someone's home machine, you got it fixed. You got any replacement parts, you got whatever you need. Um, for the first game of a new company, the build quality of this game is as good as anything I've ever seen. People say, "Well, what about Wizard of Oz?" I'm like, okay, well, Wizard of Oz was good, but that was 12 years ago. And also they had these node boards that kept failing over and over again. So in some ways, like our first game rollout is the best first game rollout in uh 20 years.
I'm not going to argue with you. I know almost everyone on that line. I play pinball with and they're the best.
We know the quality control people.
And I know that person. I know Jessica very well. So,
Mhm.
that, yeah,
So, without giving anything away, when you say our company, does this mean this is going to be a continuing relationship here?
Why would you not do that? No, of
Oh,
course.
okay.
yeah,
Yeah. Oh, I'm absolutely working with them on Toy Story 5, which is our second game.
yeah, great. It's going to be good.
Uh,
It's going to be great.
and it's going to be great. I
It's going to
think
be awesome.
the most important thing to me for the next game is that we eat the ball as many times as possible.
Yeah,
Can we have four
Uh,
people?
and there should be guns somewhere.
yeah. You're going to need those.
As long as we get those two things,
I heard it was Matrix
we,
4.
we appease the audiences, and then we're all set. Everything else is gravy for me.
Keeping your finger on the pulse. Pinball news. I see.
Yeah, he is.
Please don't record this.
No, no, not at all.
So, have you ever considered, designing your own machine? I know you're kind of, in the rule set area. I mean, have you thought, I mean, because we know Scott, he's kind of homebrewed his own thing, and I know your math and engineering are kind of, a little hand in hand there, but
It's interesting. Like I've never had the vision for a full layout. I've had visions for like little bits and pieces. And one thing I'm pretty good at doing is taking someone else's layout and saying, oh, if this were here instead of here, that would open up this path a little better, and then we could even put a second shot in there. We could take away this shot and make this post go that way. And so those kind of tweaks, I think I would be very good at. I am very good at. And like I had a hand in the design of the layout for Rick and Morty, and I've had a hand in the design and layout for Labyrinth, and I've had a hand in the design and layout for Toy Story 5. But
It'll be great.
whether if you handed me the reins and said go make your own game, I really don't know. Like I've never had that visual. Maybe it's just the type of person I am. Doesn't mean I wouldn't do it someday, but I think it might be. There are probably other people with other better ideas than me who deserve to be the lead designer. But I guess you never know. It depends on whether we can get the license for Toy Story 6.
There you go. Fascinated with Tom Hanks. Let's pivot to competitive pinball. My friend Wesley on Discord asks, since the 24-hour final battle of Sanctum is coming up in November, What do you do to prepare? Some context for the audience.
Yes.
The first 24-hour battle Bowen attended was in 2016, and he's won 4 out of the 6 24 battles since. And every finish being in the top 4.
Yes.
So what do you do to prepare for this craziness? Because we want to do one here, but I am not excited.
All right. So my answer is going to be very weird.
Yeah, cool.
All right. The first piece of preparation is do not under any circumstances pull an all-nighter the day before for your job.
Okay.
That's the year I got fourth. But the other preparation is there isn't any. I actually don't prepare. I don't have any preparation for any of the tournaments I attend, except possibly for looking through the list of games and learning a little more about a few of them. But there are 2 very important pieces of success at 24-hour battles. Number 1, sit.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, just don't go up there between rounds playing extra games on the machines you like.
Right.
You blew it. You don't do that. You got 22 more hours. Stop. Don't do that. Sit down. Is it your turn? It's not your turn. Sit.
Okay.
Like, why are you standing on a concrete floor when you could be sitting and preserving your energy? Your energy is your currency in a 24-hour battle, and you're not going to get more energy. You can temporarily get more energy, but it's bad news also. So the second piece of advice is no caffeine for 16 hours.
No way.
For the first 16 hours.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So you want caffeine? Go for it. What happens? You go up on your caffeine, and then some hours later, you're done. You're spiking down, and you're going to spike down below where your baseline
What if you
was
just keep
before.
drinking?
Yeah.
Oh, you got more caffeine. I don't know.
I'm just saying more.
Maybe some people can do that.
I
You
drink
can-
like
you
8 to
can-
10 Diet Cokes a day.
Oh boy,
So I think I'll be all right.
you're going to have a hard time with that extra advice.
I'll go 15.
But so I water some more. Then I like
Oh.
maybe go on to some lemonades or whatever. And then when it hits 16 hours, I start thinking about it. And I was like, okay, I might need some now. And I'll take like a couple sips of a Coke. But it's just all you're really doing is trying to conserve your energy, and and then you need the extra 2 hours to drive home. So
That's why he's ranked 13th.
Yeah, that's why.
You're in the top.
And I'm in 29.
that's not why I'd be ranked higher if those tournaments were actually worth anything.
Oh, yeah.
They
geez.
destroyed the value of the 24-hour battle because there's no final. And it's like, come on, man, the whole tournament is a final. You're playing match play the whole time. 24 hours runs
Buzzkill.
out, you go like, all right, you won.
Come on.
But that's not the way that the rules of the ranking system work. So what?
So kind of going into that, what do you think about the current state of competitive pinball, whether it's, format changes or, as you mentioned earlier, a lot of young guns out there that are just crushing? Do you think it's more competitive now than it was, say, in the past, or maybe equally as competitive?
There are way more great events now than there were 10 years ago, than there were 20, and then there were more than there were 20 years ago, and more than there were 30 years ago. And that is great. That I think that there's been an increase in the number of formats that are match play formats instead of just qualifying formats, and an increase in formats that don't eliminate players. So the people who come and it's their first tournament, they don't like an old qualifying style or that expo that I played at. You show up, you pay $5, you play the game, and then basically someone tells you lose. And then you want to pay another $5? Not really. Okay, I guess. And then you lost again. Sorry. And that's the entire experience for most players in older tournaments. So when we put together Pinburg, it's almost 15 years ago now. It was like, all right, we want the same experience for every player. If you're terrible, you should have just as many games to play as the expert. And I think those tournaments did a really good job of that. And now we see a lot more tournaments using that style and format. And what it ends up doing is bringing more people in and making people want to come back and making people want to join leagues and make people want to make more tournaments like that. There's more money right now, it seems like. There's a lot of tournaments with bigger and bigger prize pools, but also bigger entry fees. I don't know whether that's good or bad. I know that we're taking a lot of money from some people who are just learning how to play, just to try. And some of the entry fees are going to the venues, and that's fine. Like we just paid 150 bucks to Interium for 4 days of Papa 21, and that tournament was wonderful. They shut down the whole place for us for 4 days in a row, including a weekend, so that we could all celebrate and play pinball together. And yeah, I think at that point it's well worth $150 for every head to be there. And of course, these kids won, or Raymond, the old man, won. Raymond
Yeah.
got Raymond at age 31 now, I guess, is the second generation of kid player. Where I was the youngest winner of Papa when I won, and I was 18. So there's that, and then Raymond's generation, and now this new generation of players who are they're really good, and they're learning from each other, and they're getting better. They're learning from their experience at events. They're not unbeatable. I've beaten them. I've beaten every single one of them, but they've also kicked my ass plenty of times. And Escher Lefkoff's knocked me out of the last two Papa tournaments now. I don't know if you got to see this game, but I got 3.6 billion on World Cup soccer in the semifinals at Papa,
No, I watched it because I
and
have an
I got my
affinity.
butt kicked.
I love World Cup so much, and I watched what he did, and it was just
He went 6.8.
I know.
No extra ball, 6.8 to 3.6. It's a beautiful game. So if I got to lose to something like that, I'm going to lose to something like that all day. And that is absolutely fine anytime. So when I see those players gunning and kicking ass, it is awesome. And some of the things they're doing, like with stage flips, um, uh, they're doing things that I don't know that I can physically ever do. And that's great. Good for them. Doesn't mean they're unbeatable. You just got to bear down and play against the score. I think that also is a piece of advice I would give to any tournament player. Stop playing their opponent.
Yeah,
You
John
want
was
to, you
gonna.
really should be rooting for them because they're playing against the machine. It's like a golf course. Don't root against them. What good does that do?
So
Just put you
don't
in
whisper drain.
put you in a bad mindset.
Yeah,
And if you don't want to watch the other person play, fine, go somewhere else. Come back 10 minutes and look at the score and go like, all right, 170 million on Labyrinth, huh? Okay, fine, let's go. At that point, it's a replay score. But if you're like, oh no, I'm gonna play Escher, you've already lost. And now I benefit from this because I'm the weird guy on YouTube who taught people how to play, and someone's like, I gotta play you now. How am I gonna beat you? I'm like, that's fine. You go ahead. You just keep thinking that, and I'll move on to the next round. Um, but it also leads to some weirdnesses, like people who are like, "Oh, you're gonna beat me. I'll never be able to beat you. Why are we even playing against each other?" And now you just kind of poison the well on the match altogether. Like, I don't want to play it anymore.
So,
You want,
so when you're playing, do you not look at your opponent's score or
I don't even look at my own score.
yeah?
Why? What good does it do?
I guess some people would argue, do I need to play more aggressive or, can I play this a little safer or, you know,
There are times when it is useful. Like if you're last player, last ball, you do want to look at your scores. You want to know, like, do I have only a little to chase? Do I have a long way to go? You can kind of get a general sense of it without having that. I wear glasses, so what I do when I'm walking up to the machine in any final is I take off my glasses. I walk up. I kind of make sure that the player is flashing so that I know it's me. And then I look down and put the glasses on and I go. But like especially on EMs, it does me no good to know where my opponent is. I'm going to play the same strategy. I might as well just go. In fact, I also think player choice is weird that way too. You might as well play first and put the pressure on your opponent. If they're like, oh no, I've got this much to go, then they might not play as well. Um, so this I mean, I don't think a lot of people do that, but I do think a lot of people can psych themselves out with thinking they're way too far behind, or that they have a particular thing they got to do, or your mindset is important in pinball. Um, and the less that's on your mind, the better off you're going to be. And, whether that's, I actually have talked about this in the frame of my game show experience, which I don't know if you were going to ask about anyway.
Oh, we're gonna get there.
All right.
We're almost there.
But not having a lot on your mind mattered very, very much there. And
Yeah.
to just recognize, like, what am I actually doing? What am I able to control? And it's make your shot. It's not even make your shots. Just make your shot, get the ball. Like, yeah, a good ball of pinball is 100 individual decisions, all made well. And sometimes the game doesn't give you a chance. That's fine. You drain, you step back, you're like, all right, what just happened? What did I have control over? Why did I lose the ball? Usually there's an answer to that. And the answer can be as simple as I plunged into the A lane when I knew that was a dangerous lane to put the ball down. The F lane on Future Spa at Papa 21 was a good example. You go through F and you go in through the middle. And that happened to me on one of my balls. And I was like, I knew that. Why did I let that even go there? And then on my next plunge, I was like, I'm going to go make sure it goes completely the other side. And at least we'll start from there. But I shouldn't have made the mistake I made before. But another player would just say, it's fucking game.
Yeah, that's me.
And to right down the middle of me, I hate this. Like, no, have some analysis of what actually happened.
Okay.
And then when you're done with your analysis, just stop. There's no reason to beat yourself up for it. You just go back and relax. Maybe you need more water. Maybe you need some food. Maybe you just need to sit down. So those are the things you can easily control, and it takes away a bunch of things. One of the other things I tried doing at this past Papa that I think was very successful is I never looked at the standings in the rounds either. So I didn't know going into a game whether I needed first or second or third or whatever to advance. I was just trying to play my best game. And only when it got to any situation where it actually mattered would I go and look. I go, oh, I actually only need to get third here. That's fine. I'm in pretty good position. Or I need to win this game outright. Okay, great.
It's so crazy. We have two friends that play here. I'm gonna play a lot. One's a pilot for American Airlines, and one is a firefighter. They have both come up to me separately, and the firefighter, Mike, says, I go into burning buildings a living, but if you give me ball 3 and I need to hit this shot, right? And then Craig, who flies massive planes, goes, I could land a 737 in a 40-knot wind, but you need me to hit that shot on whatever.
Yeah.
I can't hit it. And I get nervous and I'm shaking. I can't control my emotions. And it to anyone that doesn't think that this is a sport is out of their mind, because it's unbelievable what you guys can do.
Have you had a chance to interview Todd McCulloch?
No.
Okay, so Todd McCulloch has played in the NBA Finals.
I know.
Twice. And he gets more nervous playing pinball than he ever did on any basketball court in his entire career.
Unbelievable.
And he has an explanation for it. He's like, well, I was just doing my job, and I was also supporting my teammates. I know that I need to do a good job for them as well. And so we just all did our jobs. And if you can take that approach to some of your pinball play and say, all right, my job right now is to go make that shot, or my job right now is to regain control of the ball. And keep it simple. Your job is never to win a world championship. The result of winning or losing a world championship is not actually under your control at all. Like, I could have got the same score as I got in Papa 4 in New York City and lost, because Dave Stewart or Lyman or Hal Erickson, the other finalists, could have come along and played blisteringly hot on those same 3 games, and then they would be the champion. So where am I? I'm reliant on outside results to determine my worth. I want to just play good pinball. And then if it happens that I win, great. If it happens that I lose, like I mean I've lost to like that loss to Escher. Like that loss to Escher was a great game. The previous loss to Escher when we played skateball at Papa 20, that was a bad game. I played like butt. And that happened because they made an adjustment to the side flipper before we started the game. And I didn't make the proper adjustments to how to handle the kick out from that upper right side. And I played a strategy that was not smart based on what I knew and didn't know about how to flip that game. And Escher played very good strategy and executed, and so he won.
I think these are all good things. You control what you can control. The other things that are out of your control, there's no use worrying about them. And I'm kind of like you, if I'm playing somebody and I lose because I had a bad game, I'm going to be upset, but I'm upset at myself because I did something wrong. But if I have a great game and somebody has an even better game, what am I going to do? I did my best. I'm happy with what I did.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm all pumped up right now. I want to play in a tournament. Let's play today. Let's go today. Who's got a tournament going on?
This is why I don't care whether you're a Yankees fan. Like
See?
I don't play for the Red Sox.
Yeah.
So what control do I have? I mean, I'll watch them and I'll be happy when they win, but like I don't understand fandom. I think people who are in those kind of fandoms, it can be that they like the fact that I have this outlet where I can control and play and win things. Like maybe that's what
I don't
keeps
know. I just have a
having
problem.
the same perspective on
I
fandom.
just have a problem. I love them.
all right. Well, you brought it up, so
All right. Yeah, we got to ask you about Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Okay.
Yeah.
In 2004, you were on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire with the late and great Regis Philbin. I watched the segment. It's on YouTube, and it was a great watch. For anyone that's watching this on YouTube, my editor Ryan, do me a favor, put the link up for that YouTube segment. But I was sad that you didn't have cable. That was the one that got me.
Come on. Da, 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 da.
Yeah, because like in 1984, I was like 11 or 12. No, I don't know, whatever I was. And Courtney Cox is like the hottest thing on the planet. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So fun fact about that music video, though, that I looked up.
What?
Sorry, Bowen. I'm not teasing you. I'm just saying.
In fact, that music video cost me $32,000.
I know. It did. Because you used your phone a friend.
Yeah.
And your buddy was good. He was like, it's Bruce.
Yeah.
It's Bruce. But famous movie director Brian De Palma directed that movie. Did you know that? I'm sure you know everything about that.
Now.
You do.
There's another fun one about this. So this is 2015, I want to say. I took a trip to Hawaii as a vacation. And one of the other questions that I didn't know was this question about James Michener,
James Michener,
in the 50s and 60s. And they said, which one of these is not the title of a James Michener novel? I kind of reasoned out like what someone would write a novel about and picked Hawaii, but Hawaii is kind of, I guess, his most famous book. So I'm on a tour driving up to like a volcano, and it's like an hour and a half drive. So the guy's just got to fill the time. He's like, yeah, and there's all this geography here in the volcanoes. This is just as it was described in that famous book Hawaii by James Michener. Fucking go.
If anybody didn't know that.
Nobody knew that. Like, yeah, that's an old book, man. It's from 19. But I could have I should have, if I had different reasoning, I could have gotten that question right.
You got the math question right.
I didn't think about the time period because he's writing these novels in the 50s and 60s, and I knew that. But Hawaii and Alaska became states in 1959, so they would have been perfect subjects for his books because they were especially relevant in the 50s and 60s. And then if I had gotten that cleared out, I would have got it. But anyway, it didn't matter. It was just something I didn't know. Yeah, so this was early 2000.
Yeah.
And it was the first season of the show. So you know how it was. Like
Yeah.
it was the nonstop craziest, like most
It's
popular thing on
huge.
TV. I have
Yeah.
a 30 million people watched that. So that 30 million people watched my ugly mug without the beard. It didn't look as good. Um, and it's unfathomable. I've been waiting for like the proper perspective on this, and it's never gonna come. That 25 years later, I'm like, what do you mean that 30 million people watched you on TV? Or that you blew $32,000 because you didn't know what Courtney Cox was doing in 1984.
That's
Ah,
okay. You didn't have cable. You're a lot smarter than I am, right?
well,
I mean, you
well,
went to
it
Stanford. I went to Florida Southern. It's all
wasn't my choice to not have cable at 8, 9.
Trust me, it was bad, dude. All I did was watch MTV and play video games. So
I used to watch a UHF station that would show videos. So it was V66. It was all the way in the back, and he would show heavy metal music videos. And it wasn't on cable. It was on broadcast. But they never showed it, or maybe that station didn't exist until like 86 or something. I don't know. Anyway, it was nuts, and still feels like something that didn't happen.
Do you know I
Uh,
tried out for Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
you did?
I did. I'm very good at trivia, but I know my lane. I'm good with geography, history. I can do some arts and literature. We got in there, and they were doing a special edition on movies.
Oh,
why would
You
you?
know I know
Why
nothing
would
about
you
yeah.
do that? Why would you sign up for this movie
I didn't
special
know until I
edition?
got in there, and they were like, "Hey, this is going to be a special movie." I was like, "Oh
That's the
no!"
only thing I would
Oh
have nailed
God.
it. I would have been like,
So
yes.
Mm.
when uh when I got on, there wasn't an application. There was an 800 number, and you'd call the number, and you have to put questions in the right order. And if you got them all correct, they would put your name in a list and call back 200 people from that day. And then those 200 people would be in round two, and they would ask you more questions to put in the right order. And if you're one of the 10 best people out of that 200, you were on the show. There was no check at all, whether you were pretty, whether you were uh, male or female or other. There was just nothing. You were just on the show based entirely on your merit of answering questions and the luck of being drawn for the second round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was kind of
That's
crazy
crazy.
because
Well,
like
I don't think
no,
they knew it was going to be so
well they did
bonkers.
it. That's exactly the way that the British show chooses its contestants.
Okay.
The British
Oh,
show is very popular, so they basically said we're going to do exactly what the British show does, and follow that along. But here is the craziest part. The second round, when I typed in the things and I got a call back from the show maybe 2 hours after that round telling me that I was on. That was Monday. I flew to New York on Wednesday. It taped on Thursday. It aired on Sunday.
Wow.
The whole thing took less than a week.
wow.
When'd you get your check?
Less than a week after that, I think.
That's pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah,
Way to go,
I
ABC.
have the blue check. It's right over there. The fake check. The one that they're like, here it is. Look at this blue
That's
check.
awesome.
This one, but then I also have a copy of the real check.
So
Uh,
you've also been involved with Deal or No Deal, correct?
yeah. No.
No.
Deal or no deal
Yes.
island.
Island. Okay.
Deal. So Deal or No Deal Island. I've been working now on the second season. It's been renewed.
Great.
Okay.
They've actually, I think, I don't know if they've filmed or completed filming or they're about to film season two. That's not my job. My job is to basically help build all of the structure of how the game will play, from the suitcase and the decision making that the players make, and then come up with the proper estimates of how much is going to be paid out, both from a perspective of the TV show. They don't want to give out very little money, and from the perspective of insurance, where if somebody's going to win, potentially last season it was $13 million as the top prize. If someone has a chance to win $13 million, the insurance company wants to know how likely is this,
Yeah.
and is it actually ever going to get paid out? And so I answer all those questions for the show, along with offering my perspective on like different decisions that could be made, different ways the game could be made a little better, and even like completely alternate ways we could run the game. It's great. The producer I work with is the banker. So he is the
Sounds like
one.
you're the banker.
I'm the bank. I'm the banker's helper. I'm the
Okay,
I'm
good.
the teller, the assistant. And basically, I give the banker all of the spreadsheet and other information that they need to run the game. And then they run the game. They have lots of experience. They do a really good job of running the game and making the deals interesting and fair. And then if something weird happens, they'll let me know. That didn't really happen. The first season went about as we expected. I don't see anything weird expected in the second season, but there's always a chance. There's always a chance that someone could win the $13 million, and then it's a variable number too. So the amount that can be won is actually determined by all the other episodes put together. So I have to help them configure all the other episodes so they can figure out what the jackpot should be in the final episode and make that and give them a range for that. Say, oh, it'll
So,
probably be about $12 million, but it could be as high as 15 million or as low as 8 million, depending on these other factors.
so do you create a model for that, or is that just taken after individual, events happen?
Um, I write programming code in a language called MATLAB, which is a little bit like Python,
Okay.
but it's something I've worked in for 20 plus years. And I run 100,000 simulated seasons every time they ask me something. So like, all right, you want me to run this? They're like, right, push the button, come do something else for a while, come back, and then see if the results made sense and if they were better or worse than what they already had. But that way, you give enough data that you account for like all of the strangest things that can happen. 100,000, like I've also worked on slot machines. I worked on casino games. In slot machines, 100,000 simulations is not enough. It's nowhere near enough. Like if you spun a slot machine 100,000 times, you would not see everything. You probably wouldn't see the jackpot. If you run 100,000 simulations of coin flipping, you wasted your time. There's only two things that can happen,
Yeah.
and you didn't need to run 100,000 simulations for something like Deal or No Deal, where there's lots of suitcases and lots of possibilities. It's right about the sweet spot to run that many. And I could have tried for fewer simulations, but there's no reason.
All right, we've kept you long enough. We're gonna play our rapid fire question game called the Hurry Up.
Huh.
Are you ready for the Hurry Up? Now, last podcast we have an editor named Ryan, and I asked him to put music in, right?
Oh,
And he put a baseball sound. Did you hear it?
he doesn't know what.
Baseball sound?
Yeah, he doesn't
He
know
went
what.
da-da-da-da-da-da. I don't want
No.
da-da-da-da-da. All right, Ryan.
Who wants to be a millionaire? Son? Turn
That's what
down the lights.
Ryan. Da-da-da. Okay.
Bowen, hook him up with this, please.
Da-da-da. That's
What?
what
What are we doing now?
it's just a hurry up. It's just rapid fire. We're going to give you like 7 or 8 questions. Okay. Here it goes. I'm going to start you off. What's better, Texas food or New England food?
What's better? What?
Food. Texas food or Boston food?
Oh boy. I'm gonna say Texas food, but I don't know enough Texas food. I just know brisket and
That's all you need to know. That's all
Texas
you need.
barbecue. Texas barbecue destroys Boston barbecue. There's even places in Boston that pretend to be barbecue, but they're not. They're terrible.
I heard some accent there.
This
You know-
music bad?
All right, you're up.
We
Can
we
you-
can't hear it. Let's hear it. Why are we leaning in? We got our
I don't
headphones
know.
hear
My
it.
headphones on. That's stupid of us.
Oh, that's fine. It's the music from Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Oh, okay.
Okay. We'll put it in.
We'll
post.
put it in post.
I'll stop it. Sorry.
So, Boston fans, they kind of like getting wicked drunk sometimes.
No.
Who drinks more? Is it the Sox fans or the Pats fans? Hey, there we go.
It's Sox fans because you can easily get sauced before the game, during the game, and after the game. In Patriots, there's nowhere to go unless you're tailgating. There's nowhere around the stadium really. And then when you're at the game, don't even bother getting a beer because you're going to be waiting 40 minutes to get it. It's definitely
Waiting
socks.
40 minutes to pay $12 probably.
12.
$12.
It's a small. Hardest pinball major to play in. And which one do you feel worst after, even if you won? Like the biggest grind?
Oh, geez. Hardest to win. I don't even know what the majors are anymore. I haven't won Indisc yet, so I guess I'd say Indisc. But Indisc is like the old Papa with a card qualifying ticket. So the thing with card qualifying is that you can play really well and then just shoot yourself in the butt at the end of your ticket. So that's what makes it, I think, amazing because of the psychology and the mindset really matters much more than it does otherwise. Um, I don't really care for the events that make you play tons and tons and tons of games for no particular reason. Like Expo now has qualifying where you're playing like 24 games, 24 different games. Like, oh yeah, you have to play one each of the pro and the premium of each of these machines. Like, really? Why? Well, this is not fun. And so I haven't really played in the Expo tournament in many years now. And I know the people running that tournament, they do a great job. But I don't think that the choices made there they make sense from the perspective of trying to maximize the value on another website's leaderboard. And they don't make sense from the perspective of having a fun event to me.
Yeah, they go long. Those games are long sometimes. So, Bowen, let's say you've got one more game to play for a championship and you get to pick what the machine is. Can't pick one that you've worked on. What would you choose?
There are a lot of good choices. I think I might pick the Shadow because I've had success on it in events, but it has to be a Shadow where like looping and ramp and shot making are comfortable. I've definitely lost on Shadow as final game several times, thinking, "Oh, that's a good pick," and then the game is like kind of not busted, but it's just everything's a little off. Um, I've been having a lot of success on Iron Maiden against players because I don't shoot the loop. I've been having generally good success on games like Godzilla. It also often depends on the opponent's strengths and weaknesses. Like the fight, I got to choose the games at Papa 20, and when it came to time to pick the final game in the group, I could have picked X-Men, and instead I picked Jungle Queen because I felt like I had a better chance of winning on Jungle Queen than of winning on X-Men, having never played X-Men in like the qualifying. So the decision is often pretty situational. Now we have all these tournaments where people can only pick games once, and then you have to decide like whether you are going to save your best pick for last or whether you're going to just lump it and try. And I always pick my best games right away because I think it would stink to be eliminated and then go like, oh yeah, maybe I should
Yeah.
have picked the game I'm really good at.
All right. You are 13th in the world. Any perks I could look forward to when I climb out of the draws of 2,900 to be top 20 in the world? Is there any perks, any groupies? I mean, what am I looking forward to when
Do
my
it.
game
There's a possible Jay Leno appearance.
possible Jay Leno appearance?
I guess there are things I could say, but no.
No,
Uh,
it's a stupid question. It's a dumb question. It's a goof question.
stories for
We
stories
won't tell
for
anybody.
stories for another time. No, there really aren't.
All right.
Um, the main perk is that people will tell you you're 13th in the world. I actually don't like. It's another one of those things I don't look at.
Okay.
And I mean, it's good. I played a bunch of tournaments this year, and I've generally played very well in them. So I'm not surprised that I'm up from wherever I was a year ago. I don't know where that was either, but like I didn't get invited to the IFPA championship this year, the one that was in outside LA at Jim Belcito's. And that's fine. I went to Jamaica instead. It was great.
Take that, Jim.
But the perks, I mean, there are some like discounts on Stearns that happen, or other things
Oh, yeah.
IFPA has put together, and they've done a good job with creating scenarios for the sponsors, and it's good. It's a good system. Um, I just never really think of it outside the realm of like, how am I doing in this event? Did I win this event? Did I finish fourth? Did I finish second? Did I finish how many kids did I lose to this time?
Yeah.
Did I win a mystery castle this time?
Did I win a mystery castle? Not even close.
No.
The next year I came back and it was 20 Mavericks, and I didn't qualify for that either. Then the year after that it was 20 Whodunits.
Oh, I
And
like that one.
I won. I
Go.
won on the most BS thing I've ever seen. This is So I'm playing someone who's clearly kicking my butt. His name is Glenn Wilson. He's one of the best players of the 90s and still an outstanding player. Beyond that. So he's just beating me down as player one. He's got, I think, 6 billion or so, and I've got under a billion going into my last ball. I was like, I gotta start multi-ball and I gotta jack up the jackpot as high as I can. I start the multi-ball, I collect my first jackpot. And I hear some commotion some commotion behind me that I don't really understand. I hit another jackpot. I look up, and the jackpot value is 400 million. On Whodunit, the jackpot normally starts at 75 million. But Glenn had kicked butt and had run that jackpot all the way up to 400 million. And then I inherited his 400 million jackpot value.
Thanks, Glenn.
Because the game had decided that all players share the same jackpot instead of having individual jackpot values. And then sure enough, I hit enough 400 millions that I beat him, but I definitely did not hit enough 75 millions I would have beat him. So he should have won that game. And instead I won, and I ended up winning the semifinal against Jim Belcito the same way. We told Jim before we started, like, this is how it's playing. Do you want to be first or second? And he picked to go first, which I didn't really understand, but that's
Maybe
okay.
we'll have to interview him for that.
And then I played John Miller in the final on Waterworld, a game that no one ever saw again.
Yeah.
A movie no one ever saw. Yeah.
All right.
As a result of that, I got a jackpot. So
we're gonna send you out with 2 trivia questions for the Stanford grad, okay?
All right.
Okay.
You're sure about these?
These are real.
Okay.
These are right.
First question: which pinball machine is the first to use a digital dot matrix display?
It's usually given a Checkpoint, a Data East game that came out just a little bit. A digital dot matrix display. Yeah, Checkpoint Data East.
It says Black Knight 1980.
That's not a digital dot matrix display.
Oh my God.
See?
I think
Listen, ChatGPT screwed me.
the Black Knight one would have been the same kind of 7-segment display that we see now on Black Knight may have been the first game to use a 7-digit display, but I don't think that's true either, because Big Game from Stern Electronics was like,
This worked out good.
look at me, I've got 7 digits. Nobody's
This
ever going to
worked
get
out
a million on my game, but I have so
right.
many digits now.
This one I know is real. Okay.
Yeah, I've heard this one before.
All right. What is the first pinball machine to feature video mode?
Oh God, video mode's terrible. But it's Terminator 2.
It says here Pinball Magic, Capcom 1995.
No, Terminator 2 had a video mode. You go around and you shoot the Terminators. They're going back and forth, and then you can get an extra ball, and then it goes beep 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 when it's still done.
AI, you've got a long way to go.
I pay like
Pinball Magic.
$15 a month for this shit.
Pinball Magic's video mode was bullshit. All the Pinball Magic's video mode was a door select, like it's a left or right, and then you could
Yeah.
pick one. Sometimes it would go up to another level, and then you pick again. Other times it would like, look, it's a snake, you lose. And, all right, shut
I
up.
blame Google Gemini.
Definitely.
God, you
I
Google
mean,
Gemini.
do we want other pinball trivia? Do we want
No,
like
I'm ending it. It's
pinball
over.
trivia here?
It's over. The hurry up is done. Thank you, Bowen. Couple questions. Will you be in Chicago in a couple weeks?
I'm gonna be in Chicago at least for the Wednesday because that's circuit final of the other tournaments, and I'm currently seeded 17th for that. So I at least I'm gonna get to compete, and we'll see how it goes.
Okay. Well, the
What's the,
wormhole
wait,
crew.
what was the first ever game that has a shot that goes through a spinner and then into a scoop in the far back of the game?
Didn't that just? I know
Through a spinner.
Avatar does that, doesn't it?
Yeah,
The new Avatar?
you shoot the ball, it goes through a spinner and then eventually into a saucer, like all the way in the back.
Wait.
Does our skateboard?
Barracora.
No, not Barracore.
It's got a thing, right? But it's a spinner. No, there's no spinner there. Damn it. I don't know.
There's that boat.
It's Trucker, baby. Trucker.
No way we would get Trucker.
You've got a Trucker. It's right there.
Oh
Isn't it?
no.
No.
That's
What is that game
Barracuda.
called?
Oh yeah, Trailer.
Trailer. Shoot.
Remember you came here and played
Yeah,
Trailer.
that's why I asked you that one.
Oh my God.
There,
I
that's the
forgot
only place
about
I've ever
Trailer.
played it.
So that's what's so funny. Trailer, you came here and GC'd it. First time you played it.
Yeah, you took down my score.
Yeah, he took down your score. So he comes in that day and he's not signed on an NDA and he goes, "Wow, who beat this?" And I wanted to go, Bowen Kerins came in here and kicked your ass. But I couldn't because you were on an NDA.
Oh my God.
All right, please search for Papa Pinball on YouTube. Barrels of Fun just shipped their 500th Labyrinth machine. Congrats to the entire team there. Congrats to you as well. Anything else you want to plug, sir?
I know. I'm always so impressed by any group of people who organize an event, whether it's a Houston Arcade Show coming up or Chicago Expo or Papa 21 with Penny Epstein and Andy Bagwell and Josh Sharp and that team. Like these events take so much effort to run, and they're often like thankless because everyone who's there is exhausted or they're out of money or they're angry they didn't win or whatever. It is really, really tough to organize great events, and we see more and more of them. So I'm excited to play 24-hour battle this year. I don't know what to plug about that because it's full, but like,
Did they stream it?
yeah, he does stream it. The streaming is just kind of a static cam on a particular
That's fine.
game being
I'll
played.
we'll tune in. That'll
Like
be fun.
24 hours of commentary is
Oh,
real tough.
jeez.
I could do it.
You thought 24 hours of pinball.
I could do it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes, I could.
You could do 12.
Yeah, you could.
Done
You
12.
I've done 12 at TPF.
You could definitely do it. Yep.
I've done 12 at TPF, and I bet you I'll do 8 or 9 at Space City this year.
Not me.
You just
I hope
need
you got somebody else.
Are you coming to TPF? Are you coming to TPF again in March?
In March, it's not up to me, but I
Come on,
can't
Barrels,
imagine
bring him to
not
TPF.
coming. I mean,
And
that's what happened last year.
Yeah, you got to
Yeah.
run the second places that you need to beat. You've run. You've got 2 second places at TPF in a row. I've had it. I want you to win it.
Who's going to beat you this year?
Oh, stop it.
That's been great. Exactly. Who's going to beat me this year? Could be anyone. Could be you.
It won't be me. I'll be
Those
behind the
events,
mic.
I get the events like that. They're hard to run and they're hard to run well,
Yeah.
and like it's exhausting. And like even when there's issues around a game breaking down or a ruling, it's hard to get it right. But you don't have to get it right to still for everybody to still be pleased with the way it was run and the fact that people put in so much effort to make something for everyone else to enjoy. So I appreciate that.
Thank you so much for everything that you do, Bowen. Thank you. And I've wanted to do this for a long time. Thanks for saying yes. I appreciate it.
Of course, anytime.
All right, brother. We'll talk to you
Thanks.
soon, and I'll see you up in Chicago.
Nice. Take care.
All right. Thanks, Bowen. Wow. Thank you, Bowen Kerins, for taking an hour and 15, actually.
Mhm.
to meet with us. Next week, I have another episode of Arcades Across America, this time with Rob Burt from Pastimes Arcade and the guys from Free Gold Watch.
Nice.
That's going to be a good one, right? That'll be a lot of fun. And I'll again be joined by Co from Quarter Drop Arcade. So we recorded this on Tuesday, October 1st. And usually we release these on Friday. So that'll be Friday, October 4th. And the reason I'm saying this is October 4th starts the week of Whoppers here in Houston. And it's run by Space City Pinball League, Space City Pinball. The week of Whoppers is full tournaments leading up to the Space City Open. So here's how it starts. Friday night, Eureka Heights, group match play format. The tournament starts at 6:30 p.m. Then on Saturday, here at the Wormhole, will be a 4X tournament. That starts at 1. DJ Chris Lowe
That's going to be
will be in the house. Yeah, that's going to be a packed house. Going to be a nice day out, actually.
Is it?
Well, 89, but that's not too bad.
I thought I saw rain.
30%.
Okay. That's not bad.
DJ Chris Lowe will go through that. Then Einstein's Pub and Arcade on, what is that? Sunday. Boys and Girl on Monday.
My home turf. You want to take me down there?
What is that? Monday? I might be able to do Monday. But Tuesday, I can't do Tuesday. Game Preserve North and South. And then back to OG Einstein's for a max match play. That's really fun on Thursday, which I'm setting up.
Show up for that.
Yeah, it's almost too many. But it's fun. And then the warm-up go-no-go tournament at the Houston Space City Open. And then the Space City Open. So Wormhole Pinball is going to be streaming our 4X on Saturday. Then the Space City Open Go No Go tournament on Friday afternoon, and then Space City Finals, and then the women's finals the next day. So follow us on Twitch, right? Click that bell, get alerted when we go live.
We don't know what time it'll be. You know, it could be 2, could be 3,
I don't know.
could be 4. It just depends on how things shake out.
But I'm going to wire the hell out of that room, dude.
Yeah?
Yeah. And surprise cam and a potential surprise stream.
In the bathroom?
No, dude, I'm going to wire the thing for sound. It's going to be unbelievable.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I want to show one of the things about the Space City Open that's so unbelievably badass is the crowds.
Oh, yeah.
That sit and watch. And I'm going to have them wired up.
Well, Bowen was talking about that. It's awesome, you know, having all those people behind you just going nuts.
Well, we do a really good job at Space City Open and TPF. And so we'll make sure I can really show that this year. If you're going to the Houston Arcade Expo, please stop by our booth, say hello. Our booth's got bigger. So if you saw our booth at TPF, it's actually going to be bigger.
Oh, good. It was
so
cozy last year.
Well, we're bringing 5 machines now.
All right.
So if you love pinball but don't play competitively, come by, stop by our booth, Space City Pinball booth right across the way. And we'll show you how great this community is. I'm pumped.
Your money. We got merch.
Oh, yeah. We're going to have a lot of merch.
Good stuff.
Janine will be selling some stuff with my wife, Janine, and Christine Hood. They love to man the booth there. And we'll have all the chairs out. And it's going to be really good. So I'm really pumped for the Houston Arcade Expo. What do you think?
Yes, absolutely. Tons of games.
Wang Chung.
Everybody, Wang Chung tonight
is going to be performing.
They did dance hall. Oh, they wasn't that Wang Chung?
No idea. All I know is Wang Chung tonight. All I know is Wang Chung tonight. I didn't know they had a second song. That's great.
Do you think they're just gonna put that on repeat?
I thought they would just do like what Seal does, and he just sings this one hit like 5 different times.
Oh, do it like a couple different ways. Do like a country version of it.
He can do so much, Wang Chung. All right, that's enough. You have anything?
No, I'm good.
Check us out on all the socials. TikTok had a good week.
That
was unbelievable.
All you and Aaron.
And so did Instagram. So there you go. Follow us on that. Ryan, if you could put that across the screen.
Yeah.
And you know our number 1 rule, but you really can't be an a-hole listening to Wang Chung.
Especially the bluegrass version.
Thank you, guys.
Adios.
Adios.